you are breathing, you are a human being. Look at her rags. She smells like yesterday's garbage.
Do you know how much these shoes cost?
Fresh groundnuts! Get your fresh groundnuts here!
You think because you are breathing, you are a human being, the tall woman screamed, slapping the tray of groundnuts out of my hands. Crash it. My only source of income scattered into the dirty roadside mud. I didn't breathe, I didn't blink, I just looked at my dusty toes. Look at her rags, her friend laughed, holding a designer bag. She smells like yesterday's garbage. I fell to my knees, trying to pick up the ruined nuts with trembling fingers. They were right, I was nobody. But then a heavy shadow fell over me. A shiny black shoe stepped right onto my hand, crushing my fingers into the gravel. I gasped in pain, looking up. It wasn't the women, it was a man in a suit. He wasn't moving his foot. He was staring down at me, his face unreadable. "Do you know how much these shoes cost?" he whispered darkly. Was this the end of me? Dear viewers, how do you feel for this poor groundnut seller? Tell me now, please subscribe. The sun in the market was not smiling today. It burned the back of my neck like a hot iron, but the heat from the slap on my face burned hotter. I pulled my hand out from under the man's heavy shoe. My fingers throbbed. The groundnuts, my only hope for dinner, were mixed with sand and black engine oil from the road. "I am sorry, sir," I whispered. My voice sounded small, like a dry leaf stepping on a branch. "I am very sorry." The man in the suit did not speak yet, he just watched me. Behind him, the two women who had knocked me down were giggling. The leader, Sandra, stepped forward. She adjusted her expensive wig and smiled at the man. She thought he was angry at me. "Don't mind this rat, Emeka," Sandra said, her voice changing from screaming to sweet honey. "These village girls have no manners, they don't know who is who, she just dirtied your Italian leather." Emeka, so that was his name. He looked rich, not just rich but powerful, the kind of man who could snap his fingers and make a person disappear. I kept my head down. My mother, Yakumbo, always told me before she died, "Jamila, poverty is a cloak we wear, but it is not our skin, keep your heart clean." But it was hard to keep my heart clean when my body was this dirty. I tried to gather the broken plastic tray. Tears pricked my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. If I cried, they won't. "Leave it," Emeka said, his voice was deep. I froze, "Sir." I said, "Leave the trash." Sandra laughed loudly. "You heard the big man, get out of here, ragdoll. Go back to the village where you belong." I stood up slowly. My knees were scraped and bleeding. I wiped my dirty hands on my skirt, making it even worse. I turned to walk away. I had lost today's money. I would sleep hungry again. It was fine. I was used to it. "Wait." Emeka's voice stopped me. I turned around, terrified. Was he going to make me pay for cleaning his shoe? I didn't have a single kobo. Emeka wasn't looking at me anymore. He was looking at Sandra. "You pushed her," Emeka said calmly. Sandra blinked. The smile froze on her face. "What, Emeka? I was just clearing the path for you. These hawkers are pests. They don't have education. They are useless." "Education," Emeka repeated the word slowly. He reached into his pocket. Everyone in the market stopped to watch. The Okada riders, the tomato sellers, the passers-by. They all wanted to see what the rich man would do to the poor girl. If you have ever felt judged by people who think they are better than you, tap the like button now. Emeka pulled out a white handkerchief. It was spotless. He took a step toward me. I flinched, thinking he would hit me. Instead, he knelt down. The whole market went silent, a man in a suit kneeling in the mud. "Your hand is bleeding," he said softly. He took my dirty, dusty hand in his clean ones. He didn't care about the mud. He didn't care about the germs. He wrapped the white handkerchief around my bleeding fingers. "Sir, your cloth," I stammered, "it is expensive." "Cloth can be washed," Emeka said, looking into my eyes. "Dignity is harder to repair." He stood up and turned to Sandra. Her mouth was open. She looked like a fish out of water. "You have a university degree, Sandra?" Emeka asked. Yes, of course," she stuttered. "Masters in International Relations." "It is a waste," Emeka said coldly. "You have a degree, but you have no sense. You judge her by her clothes, but right now, her silence has more class than your noise." Sandra's face turned purple. Emeka reached into his pocket again and pulled out a bundle of cash. He didn't give it to me, he held it up. I am looking for a personal assistant, he announced to the crowd. Someone who knows how to listen, someone who knows struggle, not someone who knows how to bully. He looked at me. What is your name? Jamila, sir, I whispered. Get in the car, Jamila. My heart stopped beating. Was this a trick? But sir, look at me, I said, pointing to my rags. I am looking at you, he said, and for the first time today I see a human being. He opened the back door of his shiny car. The air conditioning rushed out, cool and sweet. I looked at Sandra. She was shaking with rage. I looked at the mud where my groundnuts lay. Then I looked at the open door. Yakumbo always said no condition is permanent. I stepped toward the car. But as I lifted my foot, Sandra grabbed my arm. Her nails dug into my skin. You are not going anywhere with him, she hissed, her eyes looking crazy. You think you can just steal my spot? You are a witch. She raised her hand to strike me again. Sandra's nails dug into my skin like hawk talons. She was not just angry, she was insane with jealousy. Let go of her, Emeka said. He didn't shout, he didn't scream. He spoke with a voice as cold as ice water. Sandra froze. She looked at Emeka, then at her own hand clutching my dirty arm. She pulled back as if she had touched fire. Emeka, I just don't want you to make a mistake, Sandra stammered, smoothing her dress. She will steal from you. Look at her. These people are born criminals. Emeka ignored her. He didn't even blink. He gently placed a hand on my shoulder and guided me into the back seat of the car. The leather felt soft like butter. The smell inside was expensive, a mix of vanilla and new money. He shut the door, sealing out the heat, the noise of the market, and Sandra's hateful face. As the driver pulled away, I watched through the tinted window. Sandra was standing in the mud, kicking my broken plastic tray. She looked small. Are you okay? Emeka asked from the seat beside me. I pulled my legs tight against the seat, afraid my dusty feet would ruin the floor mats. Yes, sir, thank you, sir, but why? Why what? Why me? I am nobody's. Emeka sighed and looked out the window at the passing streets of Lagos. We were moving from the mainland to the island. The chaotic yellow buses were disappearing, replaced by tall glass buildings and fences topped with electric wire. My mother was a nobody too, Emeka said softly. I looked at him in shock. She sold roasted corn on the roadside, he continued. She sent me to school with that money. I met many people like Sandra at university. They had big cars and big names, but small hearts. They mocked my mother, they mocked me. He turned to look at me, his eyes were serious. I promised myself that when I made it, I would help those who are trying, not those who are just talking. I saw you pick up those groundnuts. You didn't curse, you didn't fight. You tried to save your business, that is spirit. The car slowed down. We were approaching a massive black gate. A security guard in a uniform that looked better than my best dress saluted as we drove in. The house was not a house, it was a palace. White pillars, a fountain spraying water, and cars that looked like spaceships. Welcome home, Jamila, Emeka said. Fear gripped my throat. Home, sir, I cannot live here, I am a street girl. Not anymore, he said firmly, but there is a condition. I knew it, nothing comes free. My heart started beating fast. What condition, sir? Tonight I am hosting a business dinner. My partners are coming. Sandra will be there too because her father is my investor. My blood ran cold. You will not serve the food, Emeka said. You will sit at the table with us. Me, I looked down at my torn skirt, like this. No, Emeka smiled for the first time. We are going to clean you up. I want to prove a point to them. I want to see if they respect the human or the clothes. He leaned closer. But be careful, Jamila. Sandra is dangerous. She will try to make you fall. Do not let her. The car stopped. The door opened. I stepped out onto the marble driveway. The air smelled different here. It smelled like money and danger. 3 hours later, I did not recognize the girl in the mirror. The maids had scrubbed the market dust off my skin. My hair, which was usually rough and tangled, was now sleek and shiny. I was wearing a long emerald green gown that felt like silk water against my skin. You look like a princess, the head maid Mama Rose said kindly. But inside I was still the groundnut seller. My hands were still rough, my heart was still shaking. I walked down the grand staircase. The dining room was full of laughter. Men in suits and women in diamonds were holding glasses of wine. And then silence fell. Everyone turned to look at me. Emeka stood up from the head of the table. He looked proud. Everyone, meet my special guest, Jamila. Sandra was sitting on the right side of the table. When she saw me, her glass almost fell from her hand. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. She didn't recognize me at first, but then she saw the scar on my arm, the one her nails had made earlier that day. Her eyes narrowed into slits. "Please sit," Emeka said, pulling out a chair for me. I sat down. My legs were shaking under the table. There were so many forks and spoons, I didn't know which one to use. "So Jamila," Sandra said loudly, her voice cutting through the room, "tell us, which university did you attend? Harvard, Oxford?" The table went quiet. Everyone looked at me. I didn't go to university," I whispered. "Oh," Sandra laughed. It was a cruel sound. "So what do you do? Are you a doctor, a lawyer?" "I sell groundnuts," I said. The room gasped. One woman covered her mouth with a napkin. A man adjusted his glasses. "Groundnuts," Sandra mocked. "Emeka, is this a joke? You brought a beggar to our table." "She is not a beggar," Emeka said calmly, sipping his water. "She is a survivor, and she has more integrity in her pinky finger than you have in your whole body, Sandra." Sandra slams her hand on the table. "Integrity, we will see about that." She stood up. "Excuse me, I need to use the powder room." As she walked past my chair, she pretended to stumble. She bumped hard into me. "Oops, clumsy me," she said. I felt something heavy drop into the large pocket of my dress. It happened so fast, nobody else saw it. Sandra smirked and kept walking. 5 minutes later, she came back screaming. "My diamond ring, it's gone," Sandra yelled. "It was on my finger a minute ago. Someone stole it." The room erupted in chaos. "Lock the doors," Sandra's father shouted. "Nobody leaves until we find it." Sandra pointed a long, manicured finger straight at my face. "She took it," she screamed. "The beggar took it. I felt her bump into me earlier. Search her." My heart stopped. I felt the heavy object in my pocket. I knew what it was. Emeka looked at me. His face was unreadable. "Jamila, did you take it?" "No, sir, I swear." Tears streamed down my face. "Then empty your pockets," Sandra hissed. "If you are innocent, show us." I couldn't move. If I emptied my pocket, the ring would fall out. They would call me a thief. Emeka would throw me out. I would go to prison. This is the moment truth fights against lies. If you want justice for Jamila, share this story right now. "Empty them," Sandra shouted, reaching for me. I looked at Emeka. He wasn't stopping her this time. He was waiting. Slowly, with trembling hands, I reached into my pocket. I pulled my hand out. Everyone leaned in. Sandra was smiling a wicked smile, ready to see the diamond sparkle. I opened my hand. It was empty. Sandra's smile vanished. "What? Check the other pocket." I turned the other pocket inside out. Nothing, just lint. "But I put it there," Sandra screamed. The room went deadly silent. Sandra covered her mouth instantly, realizing what she had just said. Emeka stood up slowly. He looked like a giant. "You put it there," he repeated. I thought she put it there," Sandra stammered, sweating. "I didn't mean that." "Enough," Emeka said. His voice boomed off the walls. Mama rose. The head maid stepped out from the shadows of the kitchen. She was holding a silver tray. On the tray was the diamond ring. "I saw Miss Sandra drop this in the girl's pocket when she walked by," Mama Rose said clearly. "I removed it when I came to refill the water glasses. I knew what she was planning." The guests gasped. Sandra's father looked down in shame. Emeka walked over to Sandra. "I told you," he said, "no condition is permanent. You thought because you were rich you could destroy her, but you only destroyed yourself." "Emeka, please," Sandra cried. "It was just a joke." "Get out," Emeka said, "and take your father's investment with you. I don't do business with people who have no soul." Sandra ran out of the room crying. The sound of her heels clicking on the floor faded away. Emeka turned to me. The room was still quiet, but the feeling had changed. It was no longer judgment, it was respect. "I am sorry you had to go through that," Emeka said gently. "It is okay, sir," I said, wiping my tears. "I am used to fighting." "You won't have to fight alone anymore," he said. 6 years later, I walked onto the stage. The graduation cap sat heavy on my head, but my spirit was light. And now, the valedictorian of the class of 2026, the announcer called out, Jamila Okan. I walked to the podium, the crowd cheered. In the front row, sitting in the VIP section, was Emeka. He was smiling, holding a camera like a proud father. Beside him was Mama Rose. I adjusted the microphone. 6 years ago, I was picking up groundnuts from the mud, I began. People laughed at me, they said I was nobody. I looked out at the sea of faces. But a wise man taught me that poverty is just a condition, not a conclusion. He taught me that your value is not in your pocket, but in your heart. I saw a woman in the back of the hall. She was wearing a faded cleaning uniform, holding a mop. She looked tired and old. It was Sandra. Our eyes met. She looked down quickly, ashamed. Life had turned around, the wheel had spun. I didn't feel anger, I didn't feel hate, I just felt grace. Never look down on anyone, I finished my speech, because the person you walk over today might be the person you look up to tomorrow. I threw my graduation cap into the air. As everyone cheered, I looked at Emeka. He gave me a thumbs up. We were living in the same world, but finally, we shared the same philosophy. Love, kindness, and hard work win, always.